Hello fellow villains, welcome to my first video on the show Villainous. For those of you still somehow uninformed of this glorious show, Villainous is a series on Cartoon Network Latin America that came out last year as a bunch of minisodes. It is about the mysterious Black Hat, a retired villain who makes and sells items to other villains so they can do very evil things. A while later, Cartoon Network started releasing these villain orientation videos, which is where things are currently with the show. At first, these videos seem nothing more than just commentary on a variety of villains that have appeared in past Cartoon Network shows, but there is much, much more to it. Wearing this black hat makes me feel powerful and a bit evil, and these hats actually might have a bit of significance, which I won't get into really in this video, but maybe in future videos I will. So, before I start, I would like to give a huge shout out to the Tumblr Night for Moon. They, along with the help of a few others, figured out most of this stuff. I'm just here to present it to everyone since I have yet to find a source that explains everything clearly and in order. Also, I may have missed out on some things or have gotten the timeline of events mixed up, but there's a lot of stuff, so I do apologize for that. So in the first video, which focused on the Adventure Time villain Lemon Grab, right at the very beginning of the video flashes to a blue screen, as if this is a VHS tape, which I actually believe it is trying to be. In that second that the screen shows the words play, on the bottom of the screen there is a 6-segment code. This turned out to be a half mono-alphabetic cipher, as all the numbers have a letter equivalent, while all the letters that we start off with stay the same. So in this case, 5 is E, 6 is L, 7 is A, and so on. After a lot of trial and error, the sentence Mira en las pantallas y busca was formed. Now for those of you that don't know Spanish, this says, look at the screens and search. Now what screens could the cipher be referring to? Well, Black Hat has a ton of screens surrounding him in the video. And I don't know how long it took, but people were able to find letters in the screens. Let's go over each of them so you can see how tricky these were to spot. So, wow, I applaud everyone who found these, but things don't get any easier from here. Putting these letters in order, it actually makes the phrase, podemos bailar. This is once again in Spanish, and it means we can dance. At first this seems like nothing, but stick with me here because it becomes very important. This brings us to the second episode, which is about the show which I don't really like, called Mighty Magiswords. At the end of the episode, there was a frame that flashed a bunch of zeros and ones. This is quickly identified to be a binary code. Putting all of these numbers into a translator gives us a sentence, which is of course also in Spanish, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce it, but please excuse my American accent when doing this. So, ya divisaste en las pantallas, ahora busca en la red de la araña. So this translates to, you already looked at the screens, now search the spider web. So, at this, people were stumped. There was no spider web in the video. So Nightfur tweeted Alan Naturiel, the creator of the show, about this. He gave a very cryptic response. This translates to, it depends on you to obtain the answer. All the searching will have consequences, but there's obviously dead ends. If you chase them, you'll end up wrapped. Be careful if you want to know. The previous message will tell you what to see. So at first it seems like nothing, but looking at the first letter in each of the lines, we get .com. People then realized that they were thinking of the wrong type of web. Not a spider web, but the World Wide Web. They figured out that by typing in Podemos Bailar into a browser, they would get a very interesting website. However, using the Wayback Machine, we were able to see what the website once looked like. On December 7th, we get a much different picture. This has two people dancing and throwing off their black hats. It says, we can dance and you can too. And if you click the black hat, we can go to another page that has 3 options. A report, a data record, and a readme. Access is denied for the top link, but we can go to the other 2. Let's actually go to the readme first. The text is a tiny bit corrupted, but it is decently readable. Translated, it says, Emergency Channel, code 72.65.84, message D001VOV, communication by agent redacted members, operation redacted, so there's going to be a lot of redacteds here, so here we go. If you're reading this, it's because you've managed to find one of the guide codes that I hid in Black Hat Organization's videos. I suspect that error of communication from our agency, redacted. I have decided to open this communication port with the other agents of this project, redacted, in this website. The site can be compromised very easily. If any redacted from the Black Hat Organization find its link, they could easily track me down or any agent involved in this operation. Therefore, this site will only be active briefly and for a determined period of time. Afterwards, I will be redacted to eradicate it along with all the collected information to protect my identity and that of those who contributed to the investigation. Error: some agents that managed to infiltrate the database and sites of redacted Black Hat organization will upload the collected information sporadically for a brief period of time. It will then be erased to avoid Black Hat's radar redacted. Don't share the link with anyone. If this goes viral and reaches the Hat's eyes, we will find ourselves in a redacted. For now, we will continue the operation. If everything goes well, in a few months I'll manage to open up the bridge and the redacted object redacted the operation. Okay, so that's weird. It also says communication ended 71.21. So from this we can see that there's a group of people that are trying to stop Black Hat. But if word gets out about this website, it could get these agents in trouble. They'll also be uploading new information as time goes on, and they do have an end goal, but we don't know what it is yet. So this is very interesting. There's definitely more going on here than first appears, but this is just the start. Clicking on the second item, we are taken to an entry list, which at the start only has the first two entries working. The first one says lemon, which is referring to the lemongrab episode. Here's what the entry says when translated. E1, lemon. I got them. Saved 11.04. I made it. I managed to get the codes to access Black Hat's organization's main computer. I'm getting in touch with Villainous. I hope that she'll be able to access Black Hat's address as fast as possible and infiltrate a direct link. Everything depends on whether Black Hat's security is as good as they say. Meanwhile, we have to hurry. But if breaking into security of the address is as simple as it was stealing the codes, then I bet we're about to complete the mission. By Cooper. Priority, Outpost. Very well, Cooper. Villainous received the information. I trust her to be able to advance further. The only way to obtain the direct link is from inside the installations, and although the doctor was able to get inside, we need a way to get her out of there. It is a priority. By CL. So we're introduced to three people, Cooper, Villainous, and CL. We don't know who any of these people currently are, but I'm going to make some guesses later. Now here's the second entry. 2. Imposter. Updated 3/12/02. To any remaining agent. I hope one of you is still active and has access to this page. After such a long time, I managed to recover the code to access Black Hat's organization's main computer and hid it in the orientation videos. I couldn't risk hiding it in one go and compromising my location, so I hid it in different videos, in different ways. I hope to quickly create a direct and stable link to Black Hat organization's interface and expose it publicly, and if I succeed, it'll give us the advantage that we were looking for and much more. For now, I managed to keep the site out of the Hat's radar, but I'm sure I won't be able to do it for much longer. If any agent still has access to the site, please. I could use a little help. Communication ended. Source not identified. Well, it looks like Black Hat got to some of the agents, and their numbers are dwindling. But there may be hope as they soon have the chance to expose the organization. Yet the message seems to realize that the website will soon be compromised. And that is exactly what happened. A Christmas short was uploaded, and with that, the third entry. It said, 2 remaining agents. I've managed to filter the blueprints of Black Hat's mechanical guards to analyze their potential weaknesses. And this was titled Hatbot. So the agents were able to obtain some very valuable information. These bots actually remind me of the robot from Incredibles because we can see there was more than one version and it got more rounded over time. Then we got episode 3, which is about the wonderful show OKKO, but was taken down soon after it was uploaded. It appeared that Podemos Bailar was taken down as well. Thankfully, episode 3 was re-uploaded eventually. Here's what Black Hat had to say about the incident, translated from Spanish of course. This is a message from Black Hat to the world. I know what you are all thinking. Where is my video? What happened? It was here a minute ago. Mwahaha. It's worth seeing the expressions in your faces, but Black Hat organization will return more powerful and stronger than ever. And then, when the internet is infected with my glorious evilness, ask yourself if you can dance. Seems like Black Hat figured out about the website, just as the agents predicted. Things are getting just more and more crazy, am I right? But there's actually something that began in episode 2 that I've yet to mention that was hidden. In this episode, there were actually flags hidden all over the place. Using a flag code, we can see that 2 of them are the number 0, then there are 4 more, which then put in order spells out the word 0. In addition, there is a Japanese character that is also a 0. So what's up with all these zeros? Well, last time we saw so many zeros, we also saw a bunch of 1s. And that is exactly the case here. In episode 3, the theme was 1s. We got a bunch of flags and characters again. 3 flags spelled out 1, two of the flags meant one, and there was a Chinese character for one. New this time around was the uses of the flag Semaphore, which is a signaling system that also has an alphabet. These three little dudes also happen to spell out the word one. There's actually one final one, but it's a bit tricky. So on the wall, there is a character Ka in the language Tamil. If you take the individual characters of Ka, K, and A, and put them into a A1Z26 encoder, you get three ones, 111. So now we have a bunch of zeros and ones, which is 0000, 1111111. It's a bunch. I'm sorry about that. So putting this into a binary translator, and we get this thing. What the heck? Well, perhaps there is a certain order they need to be put in, but currently it hasn't been figured out. Also, in episode 3 at the end, a bunch of strings flash rapidly. The only one that makes sense is the first one, which reads, "Everyone will soon wear the hat. Let's hope Black Hat does not have his way." Finally, episode 4 was released, and with that, things got so much more interesting. Instead of zeros and ones, this time around, the character to look for was V. There is a V in Braille, a V in binary, and an electron shell diagram of the element vanadium, whose symbol is V. Now that these are no longer ones or zeros, this is even more confusing. There's also a code on Flug's plane, which we do not know what it means. Now we can talk about the thing from the episode that I've been wanting to talk about ever since I saw it. At the very end, two pictures show up for a frame. At first, it's very hard to tell what's important about them because they're so dark, but when brightened, a lot is revealed. These pictures showed the same 5 people, but in the second one, 3 are now wearing a black hat. People suspect that these 3 were the agents who were talking in the entries mentioned earlier, and thus lost their lives because of it. Not much is known about them, but it seems that Black Hat took care of them. Perhaps we should be afraid as well. Finally, there is the newest video at the time of this recording, not counting the newly released online game which people are still trying to examine. This is the Valentine's Day short. At the very end of it, an image of a glove is shown. The Power Glove. Okay, just kidding. This is actually King Mazook's glove that is said to be super powerful. So powerful that villains wish to get their hands on it, so it needs to be constantly moved around. We also get our first official superhero name, Just In Case. Well, that is definitely not a pun. Technically, we did see his name and many others in the credits of a video, but here it is in a place besides that. Now maybe this glove will be important to the plot, and Black Hat wishes to get his hands on it. But he is probably a lot more powerful than this glove, so there may not be a need for this. But maybe he would like to resell it to the highest bidder. Well, that was an absolute ton of information thrown at you guys all at once. Honestly, I'm still processing it myself. There are still a lot of questions out there, and this is definitely giving me Gravity Falls vibes because of all the deciphering that has to be done. Seeing that there is a much deeper story going on in Villainous, I'm definitely excited to see where it goes. If you are good at this stuff, then you should definitely give it a try and see if you can find anything new. I did open up a Villainous text channel on my Discord, so feel free to join it using the code CartoonUV. Let's talk about the show together. I'll probably be making more videos on Villainous as new stuff comes out. I just want to release everything out there so far, so I can catch up to what Villainous has already showed us. Also, like I said before, a huge shout out to Night for Moon and everyone on their Discord and anyone else that helped contribute to what has been found so far. Truly, I only know half the story, since there is a Spanish-sided fandom that I don't know much about yet. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified of any upcoming Villainous videos. Also, many thanks to my Patreon supporters, as well as everyone who has recently supported us in our music live streams.